If there's one thing in your life to make sure you understand in the next 12 months that's not related to digital marketing, it's what does it mean to truly be scarce? What does it mean to truly be scarce? I think that's what you should be thinking about. I'm talking about Bitcoin. What does it mean to truly be scarce? Why does Bitcoin have value? It's so hilarious that it sits at like 27,000 and we call it down. You know, just 13 years ago, it started at pennies, fractions of a penny, then $1, $10, $100, $1,000, $10,000, $20,000, and somehow this time's going to be different. I honestly believe that this is such a big thing, such a real thing, that there is massive economic manipulation to prevent people from understanding it, acquiring it, maintaining it, using it. We may, at one point in time in our civilization, it was considered illegal to hold gold. We may face that again. You may want to begin memorizing your seed phrase. You may want to begin memorizing your seed phrase. I'll admit, I do not have mine memorized yet, but it's on my mind that we may need to move into memorization of the seed phrase. Now, you should still store it and store it in steel, right? Fireproof steel. But memorization is the only true way to become your own sovereign individual anywhere you walk, anywhere you go, any prison, any boat, any world, any country. If your seed phrase is in your head, you have access to value, you have access to money, you have access to time, you have access to resource. You can't do that with anything else. And this thing that I'm talking about is potentially the only true scarce asset in the world. We cannot create more of it. It is impossible. And what does that really mean? Because we can create more houses. Oh, and there's plenty of land to build on. There's plenty of oceanfront land unbuilt upon. Plenty. There's another cosmopolitan city right around the corner. There's another company to invest in. You can always make more shares. Oh, what about gold? Isn't gold scarce? Not really. We can always mine more. We can always mine more. And one of the problems with gold is the amount of paper gold, meaning sort of certificate-based gold, representative gold. It's manipulated heavily, and that's why it's also concerning when there is some sort of Bitcoin futures market. There's a lot of talk right now about the Bitcoin ETF and whether it will finally get approved, whether that will be the trigger for the bull run. It's possible, but I'm not so sure because it should already be priced in now that that lawsuit has completed. There was a lawsuit between Grayscale and the SEC, Securities Commission, and it was about that they had unfairly blocked the ETF, electronically traded fund, which is going to allow millions of people to onboard into the Bitcoin ecosystem without having to hold Bitcoin, which is what most people want. The average person doesn't want to memorize a seed phrase. They don't want to have a hard wallet. They don't have to want to worry about getting hacked. These ETFs will buy the Bitcoin on their behalf, and we've been prevented from a Bitcoin for many years. Why? And now you're finding out illegally. Well, not illegally, but it's got to be overturned because they were not giving a good reason for stopping the ETF when there's so many other ETFs. So where was I going? It's the only real scarce thing. The ETF might prompt a bull run, but I don't think so because I think that should already be priced in because it's like an 80% certainty there's going to be an ETF in the next year. I think the bull run gets announced when two things happen. And this is pure speculation. I'm literally guessing. I've done no research. My guess is what's going to happen. Crisis followed by the announcement. Brazil's buying Bitcoin. I don't know. That's my guess. Crisis and a country's buying. I think those two things send us into the stratosphere. I think that the next crisis will lead to more money printing, more inflation will happen, and people are already thinking, okay, Bitcoin is where I can go to get some safe haven from inflation. I think people are thinking that. I think people are starting to realize, yes, it's volatile, but it's still going up. ETF does get more people into the system. However, it's not the system Satoshi dreamed of. He dreamed that you would be your own bank. The ETF is just going to siphon off profits. There is a % chance that Bitcoin is a terrible investment. And I think it's like this. They manipulate it forever. More scams, more hacks. They make it illegal. enough conjunction could prevent this from really going to what it is. I mean, because I think we're in this unique phase. Like before it was 1,000. I don't think enough people cared. But now that we're in this 20 to 30,000 zone, if there's another bull run and it occurs and takes us into 60 plus, you're gonna have a hard time convincing people that this isn't going to 1 million. You're gonna have a hard time convincing certain people, and they will just become hodlers forever. They will not sell their Bitcoin. There's many people who buy Bitcoin every single week and they never wanna sell it. You don't have to sell it. You see, that's what people don't understand about a truly scarce asset and the deep value it maintains. And that if you can cryptographically prove that you own this asset, people will loan you money, right? When you want to go get a loan, you want to buy a house, you want to buy a car, you want to get your cell phone plan, you do a credit check. Why is that? Because people don't believe you can pay. In the future, people will use Bitcoin verification and they will get a loan against their Bitcoin. And if they don't pay their loan, their Bitcoin will be taken as collateral. It's very important to understand this because you don't need to own real estate anymore. You don't need to own anything else. If you just start acquiring more and more Bitcoin, one day your Bitcoin will be worth hundreds of thousands of dollars. Ideally, this is what we see in the future. Hyper-Bitcoinization, rapid inflation in all the major paper currencies. If you sell your Bitcoin, you have to pay taxes. If you hold your Bitcoin forever, how do you use it? How do you get money for it? You take a loan. If I have 100K in Bitcoin, instead of selling 50K in Bitcoin, I'll just take a loan for $50,000 and I'll put up my Bitcoin as collateral. I don't have to pay taxes on that $50,000 I get. In fact, it could even be a write-off in certain cases. It could be tax-friendly in certain cases, probably not. But the point is that rich people use their assets as collateral for taking loans because they're wealthy or rich enough that enough money's coming in, they're going to be able to pay for their loan. Ideally, in a perfect world, the interest rate on the loan is less than the rate of inflation, because if the rate of inflation is 10%, Bitcoin's going up 10%, houses are going up 10%, cost of goods are going up 10%. But if your loan was at 6%, you only have to pay back 6% to take that money, no taxes, and your Bitcoin appreciated in price in a surplus of what you actually paid on the loan. So this is the future. The future is accumulating the most scarce asset in the world and using it as collateral when you need it and never selling it and never taking a tax. It's all about taxes when you get to the next level. Once you become a business owner, it's all about taxes after that. Once you figure out how to find clients, how to serve clients, once you figured out how to get customers, how to sell products, once you figure that out, it's all about taxes and managing the money. One thing about making money, a whole other thing about keeping it. Where do you put it? Do you just leave 100,000 in the bank? Not really, unless you have millions. You want to put your money to work for you. You don't want your money to be at risk in an insolvent bank. You need to keep it under $250,000. I know that's not your problem yet, but you need to be thinking about these things. And I think there's been a dramatic shift. Just 5 years ago, there's people preaching 401k, Roth IRA, dividend investments, yada, yada, yada. None of those are truly scarce. And in a population growing world, or even just an even neutral population, right? Okay, if you liked that video, give it a thumbs up so you get more of it in your feed from Rich+Niche, and I hope you're subscribing to the channel by now. Leave me a comment below if you've got questions, but if you want to watch the full live stream where that clip just came from, it's up here. I linked it for you directly. And for those of you who are just beginners, who need something a little bit more foundational and just found me for the first time, I highly recommend this video here, one of our more popular videos to get you started. See you guys in the next video.